the experience of having to rebuild, I think just has shown me how much resilience we all have.
Welcome to the You Are Lawyer podcast, Francesca Chang. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Kyla.
Of course, of course. So I was looking this up. You and I spoke at least 3 years ago. I'm in season 14 of You Are Lawyer. And back when we spoke the first time, you were this travel blogger. You also had a YouTube channel. You motivated me to get my YouTube channel. And you were like, I just believe that lawyers should be able to do whatever they want. That's what I've been doing. And I was like, oh, very cool. Very cool. But since
Yeah.
then, you've actually done something bigger, right? Or I don't know if I would call it bigger, but pretty badass. Would you tell everybody what's going on with you now?
Okay, so recent update, like I'm not a travel blogger anymore. I mean, I guess I could be, right?
Yeah.
Whatever I want to be, but life happened, circumstances changed. I ran into a lot of difficult circumstances, and in good faith, I thought that I had an undue hardship that would prevent me from paying back my student loans.
Okay.
I think actually most of us do. But long story short, after I learned that the Biden administration made it easier, right, for people to discharge their student loans, I took on the federal government. So in bankruptcy, the only way to get student loans discharged is to one, file for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So no guarantee, no matter what happens, whether or not you get your student loans discharged, you have to file for bankruptcy. But again, because under the bankruptcy code, student loans are not automatically dischargeable, you have to simultaneously sue the federal government and prove that you have an undue hardship that makes it impossible for you to pay back your student loans. So the burden's on
Yeah.
any debtor who wants to do this. Yeah, it was, I mean, it's big. I like how you use that word big because historically, this kind of lawsuit and the chance of succeeding and getting student loans discharged in bankruptcy has had a historical success rate of 0.1%. The whole point of what the Biden administration did, basically, the Department of Justice, Department of Education rolled out guidance, right? Didn't change the law, but issued guidance as basically suggesting, hey, we recognize that this burden, excuse me, this legal test is incredibly difficult to meet. So we're going to make it easier in theory. In my case, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't follow the guidance and they took me through traditional litigation, which I was not expecting to go through. But yeah, I did that.
Okay. All right. So I got to get some more details. Okay.
Okay.
So a couple things. So it's 2025 when we're recording this. And I remember the Biden administration was working hard on eliminating school debt. I think there was medical debt as well that they were trying to take care of. And I remember a couple of years ago, people were posting all over LinkedIn, like, oh my gosh, my undergrad loans are gone, my this. And I never considered my law school loans to be a part of that. I thought that higher education was like just this burden that was strapped on my back for the rest of my life, right? Were you not one of the people who were eligible of having your loans removed and you were like, well, what else can I do? Like, what initially sparked this?
To answer your question, right, I was not eligible for any other
Okay.
type of forgiveness, discharge, whatever program was available to me. And my loans were, nearing $260,000, right? 10 years over, like 10 years out of law school. And with the compound interest in my situation, I was like, there's no way now. I mean, I don't think I ever was optimistic that I could pay them back. But after what happened to me personally, I was like, there's no way now. And, actually, it was my father who read that after the administration had rolled out this new guidance, there was like a 99% success rate of people getting their student loans either partially or fully discharged. Basically, what it did was it allowed the Department of Education and Department of Justice to stipulate that, yes, like we're going to allow either a full or partial discharge of your loans. We're not going to take you through traditional litigation.
Okay.
Right, because that type of lawsuit again was extremely difficult.
Wow. Okay. So I'm kind of smiling because I'm just thinking about how money is, it's a game in a way. Okay. So we've been in this house for 3 years and we bought it at 280,000. So for you to
Yeah.
have $260,000 in law school loans for education that's already in your brain that they can't remove,
Right.
Sounds stupid. I mean, there's like no way to explain what does money mean if it can also buy a house, but it could also give you education. It just doesn't compute that it could be that grand, but also you're telling us that it is. And I can't imagine paying what, $75 a month, $250 a month on that and thinking it would ever be gone, right? So hardship, absolutely.
And
So,
also, I just want to say too that the hardest part of this test, and this is where, they challenged me, obviously, as they're supposed to, was proving that I could never pay it back in the future, right? I had to prove. And the whole argument, of course, is, right, well, you have a law degree, right? You can make money as a lawyer.
yeah,
And just, I mean, from the time that I had started that lawsuit until it was, I settled and I got, like around 94% of my loans discharged. But just in that time frame,
yeah,
I had accrued, almost $10,000 just in interest from the time I brought the lawsuit, right? So, and
that's
then the other
wild.
point that I also like was trying to make too was like, well, don't you think it's a hardship that I have to declare bankruptcy? Like I'm bankrupt now, just trying to get these
Yeah,
loans discharged, just
yeah,
trying, right? Like I'm bankrupt.
yeah.
So,
It's so wild. And I mean, I'm hearing myself and I am speaking with a lot of like incredulence, but I also have a lot of school loans and I don't think about them because the number is so great. You're just kind of like, how do you quantify that, right? You're just like, okay. So, Francesca, I want to ask a couple of things. So, you decide, okay, I'm going to apply for this hardship. And then they say, you don't qualify, you could sue. What is that like? Are you just like, there's no way I'm suing? Or are you like, hell yeah? Yeah.
right. So to be clear, I had already sued them, right? Like that was the first step.
Okay.
That was so the steps are one, you declare bankruptcy no matter what, and then in order to prove that to make the argument, right, that you have a hardship and your student loans should also be discharged, you have to sue them. You have to sue the Department of Education.
So what was it like when you had to declare bankruptcy? Was that scary? Was it unfair? You're like, what do you mean? I'm not bankrupt, but I had to get to the next step. What was that like?
Yeah, to be honest, like it was, how do I say this?
You can cuss on the show.
Can I? Oh, I love to.
You're
It's
like,
my
it was
lucky
fucked
show.
up mentally. It was really fucked up.
Yeah, no, it was unfair, but it was just, yeah, I guess I was just like, it's a requirement, right? And like
Okay.
the hardest part was like being able to accept it, right?
Okay.
It's like, oh, now I have to declare bankruptcy, right? No one wants to declare bankruptcy. It's embarrassing, right? I don't know, it's for me, it was embarrassing. I didn't want to tell anyone, it goes on public record, it ruins your credit score. It
It
does all
sounds so
these kinds of
final. Bankrupt, declaring bankruptcy, right? It's so like,
and that was the scary thing. It was like this is going to have a huge impact on my life, right?
yeah,
But now that it's over and like I'm just barely a year and a half out, I have to say that proud of myself for just learning what it means to rebuild, right? I feel like every person in their lifetime, I don't want to say should because that sounds like terrible and like I never wish this upon anyone, but
yeah,
like the experience of having to rebuild, I think just has shown me how much resilience we all have.
yeah,
Like you will be okay. Like I am okay. I would do it again, right? Because my student loans are gone. And like, yeah,
yeah.
it's kind of sucks to have this on my credit score, but lots of rich people declare bankruptcy. It's a strategy.
It
So
is a
let's not forget.
strategy. It is absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud of you. I know this is a really, really big deal to have 94% of your loans removed. So what's it like now? Do you make a payment and you're just like, I fought for this. Wow. Like, what does it feel like? Or are you enjoying the fact that you really don't have to think about it that much?
I paid off what I owed. Like I'm done. I settled and I said I can pay you this and I did it and it's gone. Like it's
Yeah.
after all of that, like everything that I went through, like learning bankruptcy law on the fly, the rules of federal procedure on the fly. I mean, I had never litigated a case in my life, right?
Yeah.
Like, and never pro se, right? What lawyer does that, right? But, just to be able to say, like, I have zero debt, $0 of debt, like, it's empowering. And I know that, like, I fought for it, right? It
Hmm.
wasn't just forgiven. Of course, I do believe that lots of debt should be forgiven, right? But I fought for it. And there's a lot of people who on the other side who were like, that wasn't fair that you got to get it discharged in the first place. You went to law school, you took out loans like everybody else has to pay them back. So there's that argument. And I'm like, well, you have the choice if you want to go bankrupt, right? You can declare bankruptcy if you want to. You can pursue litigation and 0.1% chance that you're going to win. Like you have that option. Everyone has that
Yeah.
option. So take that risk if you want.
Well, I don't believe in the word fair because any successful person will tell you that it takes a lot of hard work and it takes an opportunity. And you had an opportunity to get them done by
Oh,
suing and filing for bankruptcy and going through the stress. You said you're a year and a half out and it is still hanging on you. You're like, I have no debt, but I still feel it. That is a
yeah.
big deal. That's a
Yeah.
really big deal.
Thank you. I'm so inspired by your words, Kyla. Like I'm very proud of you too. And yeah, just the opportunity that you've taken. Like thank you
Yeah.
for having me here. I love what you're doing.
Of course. So we jumped right in because you and I connected on LinkedIn. And then since then, my niece has met you when she was out traveling in Asia. And you and I have
Yeah.
like kind of been like, distant friends for all this time and always keeping up with each other. But would you tell the audience where you went to law school and what you did immediately after law school graduation?
I went to law school at University of San Francisco. Great school. I have met the best people, my best friends. I met there during my 1L year. Amazing professors, amazing support. But I just didn't like the practice of law. And so 3 months after I passed the bar, I pivoted into multiple careers, business development, legal marketing. Then, yeah, as some people know, like I moved across the world. Moved to Taiwan, lived there for 7 years, became a travel blogger because that's what I wanted to do. Still had debt accruing the entire time. I still had
Mhm.
my loans accruing the entire time. And then, yeah, just ran into a hardship and then took an opportunity to sue the government.
Yeah. So I mentioned that because you've mentioned that you had to study bankruptcy law for this proceeding. And then you also mentioned a pro se proceeding, which is when you represent yourself in court. So when we go to law school, we learn about how to take a deposition, how to format a motion, how to do all this stuff. That is completely different than being a participant in a lawsuit,
Yeah.
having someone go through all of your records, have someone read all your text messages where you talk about, do I have money? Do I not have money? What bill am I paying? What bill am I not paying? That is very, very intrusive. And I mean, I live here in Ohio, and like the United States is a very litigious society, right? If I don't care for something that you're doing, I'm going to sue you. But just because we're familiar with these terms does not mean it's easy to go through. It does
Nope.
not mean it's easy to go through. So I really appreciate your vulnerability on coming here and even like talking about this. I wanted to share this story because you're not saying, guess what? I got over on the government. I'm not paying these. You're saying, I went through something really challenging because there was a percentage of a chance that I could get this done and I advocated for myself. That's what I heard.
Thank you. Thank you for framing it that way. I appreciate that. A lot of people don't see it that way. They just say, "Oh, well, you're an attorney. This was easy for you. You took advantage of the system that you're educated in." And yeah, that is not how it felt to me. It did not feel easy at all. I didn't know what was going to happen, right? I couldn't even find a bankruptcy lawyer who had this experience because this lawsuit is so rare,
Yeah.
right? That's why they rolled out the guidance to be like, nobody thinks that you can succeed. It's true, right? 0.1% chance of success. Nobody knows how to do this.
Yeah.
Opposing counsel didn't even know what I was doing. The US trustee for the bankruptcy proceeding didn't know what I was doing. He's like, "Why are you declaring bankruptcy?" I'm like, "To get my student loans discharged."
Yeah.
They didn't like they had no experience with this. I had no experience with this. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just thinking in my head, bankruptcy is with business and corporation and kind of commercial law. Transactional law is not inexpensive. So even if you found someone who knew what they were doing, would you have been able to pay them 250 an hour for their
Oh
research
no.
and their time and their whatever? And that's probably on a low level, right? I worked in a corporate law firm 5 years ago, and it probably would have started around then. So now, who knows what it would have cost? So oh, I can't find someone to do it, I'll do it myself. But then you had to put that burden on you. I hope you find time to pay yourself back for all of that, all of
Well,
that
I
work
feel like
you just did.
thank you. I mean, I feel like I did pay myself back, right? I
Yeah.
got all that money discharged.
Oh
I
my
got all that.
gosh. I mean, okay, you guys, I don't think you understand. If if you owed someone $200 and you didn't have it, and you're like, I don't have it. I really don't have it. And they're like, okay, if you go through this really tumultuous thing, you can pay me back $12. I could probably find $12, right? 94% of it wiped out. I can't even,
Yeah.
I have chills. I have chills. You said there was $10,000 accruing of interest in only the time that you sued. That is mind blowing. That's wild.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know what to expect. Like you said, like I had $12. I was like, this is what I can offer. And you know what? It did take courage to be like, I will pay you $12 or I'm gonna keep going, right? It was like to just sit there and be like, I will pay you 12 or I will keep going because yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to say this came from law school. This came from my dad where he was just like be a self-advocate, right? He's like if they want to take you further through trial, then let them take you further through trial, right? Like
Yeah.
you did this because you believe you have a strong case, right?
Yeah.
Who else would do this? In good faith, I believed I had a strong case. I thought I met all
Yeah.
elements of the test. And my assumption was that they were going to stipulate just like they did with 99% of the other cases that they saw.
And they didn't. And you went to
Yeah.
trial and you sued the US government. When you decided to go to law school, you decided to go so that you could learn and enhance your life in whatever ways, enhance your education, enhance the people you know, enhance whatever. That decision was made then. For it to be 10, 12, whatever years later, you're a different person. Your situation is different. And I think that that is completely okay that you were able to say, hey, things are different now. I know I said, yeah, I can do this. Oh, of course I'll be able to pay it off. Sure. I want to learn now, right? You made that decision at that time. And so now things are different. And so I'm sure it was embarrassing and probably a little bit humbling and probably mostly just foreign because you didn't know anyone else who had done it. So I am picturing you as like this phoenix rising out of the fire because I hope that you become this example of like, if things change, it's okay for you to say they've changed. And
Mhm.
if they say we got to go to court to prove it, let's go, right? Like, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself because you were advocating for yourself. You're like, hey, things are different now. There wouldn't have been a stipulation for people to try to get this hardship removed if it wasn't a burden on other people, right? Someone created it and you said, I'm gonna take it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's why people have, these laws are written. So
Thank you, Kyla. Thank you.
yeah.
And yeah, I love that you said that. Yeah, things change. It's, for me, right? The first change was like I went to law school and then I decided 3 months later, hey, actually, I don't want to be a lawyer. I mean, I'm still a lawyer. I don't want to, I don't want
Yeah.
to practice. I don't want to be involved in this culture and this process. And so I didn't. And then, and then it just came to the point where I was like, okay, well, I did this. Things have really changed now, right? Like it's not even like a matter of do I want to do this? It's like I can't pay it back.
Yeah.
I don't, I will never have it. And yeah, it was, I mean, that was my argument, right? Is like even on the income-based repayment plan, like at the end of my repayment plan, my loans would have been $500,000. That was, I did the math. I showed them the math. I was like, this is what I will owe. I won't be able to pay it back. Like,
Yeah.
this is why. Yeah.
And your legal education still coming to play because still leaning on all that to say, I can figure this part out too. I can figure this part out.
Yeah, I mean, it's I didn't feel that confident when it was happening, but yes, that is what happened and what I went through. So thank you for acknowledging
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, of course, of course. So, if there is anyone listening and you are in law school and you're like, man, my loan seems so insurmountable, don't be like me and put your head in the sand and be like, I'll think about it one day, right? Really consider the options that you have for it. Sometimes people can go into like a public interest law where they can wipe out your loans after 10 years or some other things. Or even if you're a law student or a prospective law student and you're like, I can only go if I have loans, consider all of your options, right? Like sometimes you could do like a work study program where you might work off some of it, or maybe going to a less expensive school, all kinds of things, right? Don't listen to this and be like, I'll never do that. I'm better than her. Listen to this and say, how would I feel in 10 years if I had all that debt? What could I do right now to make things different? Or even, how can you share this episode so that other people that have law school debt can find other options to get out of it, right? Like, you don't have to punish yourself by being strapped to this debt and having to slog through trying to pay it off if you really cannot. There are options. This whole episode is all about there are options. Okay.
Well said.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So Francesca, I think I was asking this question back then. But what would you say to law students or young lawyers, 5 years practicing or less, about what they can do with their law degree?
I mean, the fact that I used it to sue
the United States government. So not
Yeah.
even like Sally Mae or the Department of Education, but like
It was Department of Education and right
okay.
and the Department of Justice who represents the Department of Education.
Which I
Uh,
know had to be so intimidating because these are
it
like the
was
big names that we see everywhere, and you're like Francesca Chang
right.
versus the Department of
Department of Education, that's exactly how I felt, Kyla. You just put it into words. Like that's just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean we feel like we're gonna succeed in this, especially when you're pro se, right? It's like it's real. Don't let the debt keep you strapped to, maybe something you don't want to do, right?
yeah.
Or don't let it keep you strapped to anything. Don't make it make you feel like you're obligated to continue on a path that doesn't align with your heart. And there are options, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would just quote you and be like, listen to Kyla, there are options.
There are options. This podcast was started 5 years ago because I saw all these people with non-traditional legal roles, or I saw people who practiced for a little bit and then decided not to, right? And so we get so bogged down, we have the blinders on and we're like, this is it. And it's like, that's not it. There's so many options. There's so many options.
Right.
Um,
And sadly, right, law school doesn't really show you any of that or even give you that mindset to consider that.
yeah. But there's options because you are still you. You're just you with a law degree. So all the stuff that was important and exciting to you before is still going to be important and exciting. You just now have this like enhanced degree and this like really different way of problem solving and strategizing that you can use to sue the United States Department of Education if you need to.
That's how you're gonna title this episode, right?
I probably will. I probably will. I think you might have to like make a poster of that once you have, grieved the whole process and you've
Yeah.
healed. Even just to know, even if you like black out the petitioners, you just know. And even if you just look at it and you're just like, that was badass. That was me. Right? Like, that was me. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate the kind words and yeah, the looking
And
at
the
it from such.
random pop culture trivia. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the You Are Lawyer podcast. And Francesca, thank you again for sharing your story. I appreciate it and have a great day.
Thank you so much.